like that happen.
Yeah, shaking your head is
Welcome everybody.
wow.
Yeah,
I don't even know
that's
how to
probably
describe how I felt yesterday when I checked
yeah.
that.
I'm
That
taking out
was
some of the verbiage that you and I both used. I'm
insane,
sure,
man.
and some other hand gestures. If you get my drift, welcome everybody. A Tullymore Thursday edition of X's and Bros throughout the great state of Michigan. I'm Matt Shepard, Andy McDonald. We are brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth. We'll get to the Tarek Skubal start and the Tarek Skubal drama and what is undoubtedly going to be a Tarek Skubal decision from the Tigers and why it should be the right thing. We can have these debates. They're fun debates. There's no need for name calling. There's no need for not understanding the other side. It doesn't make any sense to do that. I am surprised at how some people are just so convinced that this team is capable of winning anything. I really am. I mean, it's stunning to me. To say this is one of the best teams in Major League Baseball is, I mean, it's borderline malpractice for a baseball knowledgeable person. Because in order for you to be one of the best teams in baseball, you have to do a number of different things right. And there are things glaringly that they don't do right. Can they be fixed? With trades, yes, but not internally. And that's where people are missing out. You're going to have to give up something to get something. Oh, let's go get Mason Miller. Sure. What do you think gets Mason Miller from the Padres, who's 30 for 30, not an ESPN documentary, but it's a 30 for 30 in safe situations? A lot.
Yes,
and that's okay.
Lot, yeah.
That's okay to go and spend a lot to go get a guy of that talent. But you're crazy, absolutely nuts, certifiably insane if you think that the Tigers are willing to do something like that. They're not. It would take way too much. And that would help them in the ninth, but it wouldn't help them in the seventh and the eighth. Not the way this team has been managed, where you're taking out pitchers, in my view anyway. I don't know how you feel about it. In my view, much too earlier than they should be.
Yeah,
now,
man.
Maybe some of these guys are asking
that.
out. I don't know. Maybe some of these guys are asking out. That's a possibility. Your ace yesterday went 6 2/3. A single and a walk, and suddenly he's in trouble. Oh, if you say so. 92 pitches and he's done. How come no one's talking about that? 92 pitches, he's done. He gets to walk off to a standing ovation. I just don't get it.
No, it doesn't make any sense, man. In that situation,
yeah. And again, I'll reiterate. I've said this, Andy, for as long as Tarek Skubal's been here. It has nothing to do with whether or not you appreciate him. I do appreciate him. I think he's a hell of a ball player. I think he's a hell of a pitcher. And I think he's one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. Full stop. I'm wanting this pitcher to tell the manager, turn around and go back to the dugout. Do not take me out. I want to stay in. I want to finish this. I'm better than what you have in the bullpen. Please don't bring in Kyle Finnegan, who in 20 pitches gave up 2 runs. Please don't go to Drew Anderson.
Yeah.
Just because Drew Anderson did well in Korea doesn't mean that he's going to do well here in the major leagues. And we've seen that with an ERA well above 4.
You name it out of the Tigers bullpen right now, and it doesn't matter, man. I don't even. It doesn't. There's not one guy that's coming in that game that I'm confident in pitching. Even Cater Montero, who's been pretty good for them out of the bullpen, his last 2 outings in general, including a start in one of them, they both haven't been great. So I don't even know who you turn to.
Well, isn't it interesting? Yesterday, it is a situation right after Skubal where Montero would have been your best option.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so by taking him out of that role and putting him as a starter, which I agree with, by the way.
Yeah,
it's not that I sit there and say you shouldn't have done that. Yeah, because he's got a live arm. There's no problem there. I think long term he is a starter. But by taking him out of that role, because of the injuries to Flaherty and Justin Verlander and the lack of starting depth you have within the organization, you hurt your team yesterday. You also hurt your team yesterday by taking out Tarek Skubal after 92 pitches. And I'm just blown away by this stuff. And not many people are talking about it whatsoever.
One thing I want to be a little fair about, though, when I talk about or think about it, the score was what the score was. I can't believe they actually
it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. I mean, you can't. You're going to tell me it's based on numbers and analytics and things of that nature. It doesn't matter. Give him the opportunity. He's an out away.
Yeah, I get it. No,
okay.
I think he should have stayed in the game.
It doesn't matter. I wasn't even thinking about the score. I'm thinking about the player. I'm thinking about the situation in which he put himself in. Does he deserve to get himself out of it? Absolutely, he does.
He does, for sure.
You realize he hadn't allowed a run to cross the plate yet.
Yeah,
right.
That's what I'm saying.
The two guys on base so that's a different situation. So we're going to dive into that. The Tigers are in Sacramento for a weekend series against the Athletics. Starts tomorrow. If you weren't around, I don't know why you wouldn't be. It was a gut-wrenching loss. Up 7-0, losing 10-9 and 12. When Spencer Torkelson hit that 2-run bomb, Detroit's down 9-7 in extra innings. Torkelson hits that 2-run bomb. I thought to myself, this is, I don't want to say destiny, but there's too many things that look like they're going right for this team in their ability to swing the bat and make some things happen. They're going to pull it off. And then I was reminded quickly of the bullpen, It
was the perfect way to describe this team is where they lost that game yesterday, in my opinion, man. All the little hope they give you, and then that still happens.
Then they snatch it right out of your hands.
Yep, exactly.
Lions begin their second day at camp. They place Giovanni Manu on non-football injury list. That's a good sign. First, not that it's a huge deal, but he is a player who you're trying to make better. It's tough to make better when you're on the non-football injured list. First round of the Rocket Classic begins today in Detroit in the final version of the tournament. Yep, this is it. It's moving to L.A. New class of the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame has been announced, and among those members, Ferris State head coach Tony Annese. And rightfully so, he will join us at 8:35 here on X's and Bros. One of the things that has, dominating is incorrect, but been a major talking point in Lions camp is the extension of one Jahmyr Gibbs. And I've been pretty firm on my feelings on this. I think he's the second best running back in the National Football League. I think he's an incredible weapon. He's got 2 years left on a contract. You could actually extend him after that and give him, you could franchise him. So you could really have him for 3 years if you think about it. I don't know why you would extend him now, personally. Running backs are different for me. Anyway, that's our Mitch Lions Wealth poll question. Would you extend Jahmyr Gibbs, yes or no? Vote as often as you want at XB Mornings. Andy's tweeted it out already this morning because he gets up at 2:30 in the morning and does these things. I have retweeted it. Yeah, a little bit of extreme, but that's all right. I have retweeted it. Some history made yesterday in the Tigers game. We'll get to that, and we'll get to the thoughts that people have on him actually moving on because the national media is convinced that he is. This is X's and Bros on a Tullymore Thursday brought to you by Mitch Lions Wealth.
Huge here for my good friend Josh Garvey and the team at Dorn Mayhew, West Michigan, one of the world's top accounting, CPA, and business firms. Their worldwide headquarters are in Troy, Michigan, on the east side of the state. And Josh and his team connect with all the sports fans and businesses across Michigan. They bring you John Beeline on the Huge Show. They bring you Lomas Brown during the Lions season. They are a top shelf team when it comes to growth and understanding what their clients need. And mix in when we do the Beat Huge contests or the NCAA March Madness brackets. Thank you, Josh Garvey, for what you do for the Huge Show and the Michigan Sports Network. Simple and easy. Just find Dorn Mayhew on all the social networks or just Google Dorn Mayhew and find out how they can help your business. And again, a special thanks to Josh Garvey and the Dorn Mayhew team in West Michigan.
September 11th at Soaring Eagle, a hot night of soul.
Grab somebody sexy, tell them hey.
Three-time Grammy winner Neo and the princess of hip-hop, Keisha Cole. Tickets start at $53 and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office or etix.com. Music that takes you there. Neo and Keisha, September 11th, part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
fans get on their feet like that and give you a pretty good ovation, it's special. It'll never not be special, and it's something I've always appreciated. And hopefully they feel the same way. You know, hopefully they feel like I've given everything to the team, to the city, and because I truly have. So, yeah, those are always special, and I'll never forget those for sure.
That's Tarek Skubal following what appears to be his final start as a Detroit Tiger. Definitely his last start before the trade deadline.
That sounded like a goodbye to me, but
it sure did. How else are you supposed to take that? And part of the reason for the standing ovation wasn't the 92 pitches, wasn't the 6 2/3 innings. It was the fact that he recorded his 1,000th career strikeout in his 153rd game. The only left-hander in MLB history to reach 1,000 strikeouts in fewer games was Randy Johnson, and he did it in one game fewer, 152. So he's the 17th pitcher to reach 1,000 strikeouts with the Tigers, but the fastest to do that, passing Max Scherzer. So kudos to him. I've said this for the entire time. You have to be careful as a sports talk show host or any talk show host. Could be a political talk show host too, I suppose. If you say something negative about somebody, you're seen as a hater. You have to almost preface everything you say about an individual on how you really feel about him. Because if you can't separate the emotion, you're in trouble. My emotion is I like Tarek Skubal. My emotion is I respect Tarek Skubal as a pitcher. My emotion is I really wish he would stay a Tiger. That said, this drama that I said would get old 2 years ago has finally reached its peak for, I think, everybody. It is time to move on. I don't understand the people who want to die on the hill, fall on their sword, and try to convince you that there's no way the Tigers should trade him because of past trades. You want to use, and I said this with Kevin Brown, the Baltimore Orioles TV play-by-play voice yesterday. You want to use certain examples of how this organization failed. It's fair. The J.D. Martinez trade to Arizona was a debacle. The players you got, none of them, don't give me Doyle Lugo, please. None of them made an impact. Justin Verlander. And that's the one commonly used. Why? Well, because they're two aces, right? Skubal's an ace. Verlander's an ace. You wanted them to retire as a Tiger. And Verlander will. We don't know about Skubal. And you thought you could get more. So trading him to Houston, you feel like you got burned because Franklin Perez never amounted to anything. Jake Rogers was a backup. And Daz Cameron never materialized as a major leaguer. So I understand that. The difference is that was a different regime than this one. Verlander had 1 year left on his contract. You didn't have to trade him. This guy you do. And before you say, no, you don't, because you got a chance to win a World Series, do you honestly, separate your emotion for just a moment. Do you honestly believe this team is World Series worthy? After witnessing its bullpen, after witnessing not the last two games, its offense, but the season-long offensive capabilities or inabilities, it's base running, a lot of different, it's defense. Fifth in the league in the amount of errors, which isn't the be-all, tell-all for defense, but very few strong defensive players. Come on. You've got to be smarter than that. You've got to know more than that, right?
You should.
On top of all that, in addition to that, what you have to understand too is the amount of money it will require for you to keep the individual.
Nobody thinks about that, though. Not the fans that want to keep him. That's for sure, man. You're not,
because they
think
not this team is going to win a championship, and it's not. It's not built that way.
No, clearly they're not a good. They can. I don't think the Tigers are a bad team. I think they had a really bad month. I think
they're better than their record.
Exactly. I think they had a really bad month. They're a good team. I don't think they play as a complete team, and I think they have a really bad section of their team, which is the bullpen. And that's just...
Answer me this. As you watch this team, fall a little bit further behind, it's not a huge deal. It's not that they can't make this up. They can. The people who are believers that you should keep Derek Skubal, I understand where they're coming from because of the difference in the division and the difference in the wild card. I get it. You could make a strong argument, Andy, right now, if you added to this team, they would immediately become the favorites in the division. I get it. You would have to add, I think, a significant 2 to 3 pieces. I don't know if they have enough or want to sacrifice enough in order for them to do that. I don't want to trade an ace for a back-end starter and a double-A outfielder. I don't want to do that. My hope is that they get more than that. But you have to understand that other teams, and one team did yesterday, okay, not that it's a huge deal, but Texas got a right-handed pitcher, Chase Silseth, and a starting catcher in Logan O'Hoppe for an infielder, a minor league infielder, Angel Arredondo, okay? That was one deal that was made yesterday, and you'll see them trickle out for sure. But knowing what you know about this organization, first things first, when people say, and I said this to Kevin Brown of the Orioles yesterday during X's and Bros, we put it out on our social media channels. Hey, listen, do they have the starting staff to win it without Skubal? He said no. Why? Jack Flaherty's hurt. Justin Verlander's hurt. Framber Valdez hasn't done very well. It's another reason why some people would say, keep Skubal. It also supports those who say, don't keep Skubal because you don't have an opportunity. He just gave you 6 2/3 innings. You gave him a 7-0 lead.
I was going to say, again, he left the 7-0 lead yesterday. Yeah. I don't care.
You still couldn't hold it.
I don't care how bad the bullpen is. I didn't think they were going to lose the game because of that decision.
How many people would?
That's crazy.
What were the percentages? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But knowing this league, knowing this team, knowing what's, on the horizon for the offseason, if there will be a season next year, do you honestly think this team is going to spend the amount of money that it's going to require to keep him?
Absolutely not.
It's a simple yes or no question. Have they ever been that organization? Long time ago, perhaps, but not at this price. Not at this number. Just because they gave Valdez $38 million a year doesn't mean they're going to give Skubal $45 million a year or whatever it's going to take. Most people think it's going to be a minimum of $40 million, which you right now would say, see, it's only $2 million more. I would do that. Over a 10-year span, probably not. And I'm jumping to conclusions there because I'm not sure how much it's going to cost. But the number is going to be exorbitant. Okay? And if you've got a problem with them extending Kirby Joseph, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Aiden Hutchinson, Penei Sewell, Jared Goff, Jack Campbell in this town, because it's not the same organization, then how could you possibly want to extend a player for that amount of money and that possibly many of years, who has had 3 surgeries on his throwing arm? Close your eyes for a moment and predict your team just traded for a guy who has 3 arm surgeries. The arm in which he throws, and he's got a lightning rod for an arm, and you gave him that much money. How would you feel?
At age 30.
At age 30. Well done. We're going to have him till age 40 at $40 million a year, and you're going to say that is irresponsible.
Exactly.
Or you better win within the first 5 years. We'll talk more about it on the other side here on X's and Bros. Our phone number on the Meyer Hotline, 866-838-4843. Text line is Sports Radio 21,000. This is X's and Bros on a Tullymore Thursday, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
Put your faves on repeat with new Meijer Subscribe. It's easy to add subscriptions with your Meijer home delivery or pickup order. From fridge and pantry to pets and paper towels, big, small, or in between. Subscribe to Purina, Pampers, and all your favorite brands. We'll shop as often as you like when you like. Just press set up a subscription while shopping and choose a frequency. We'll take care of the rest. New Meijer Subscribe keeps you supplied with what you need when you need it. Download the Meijer app to start a subscription with your home delivery or pickup order today.
Huge here for all the ABC warehouse locations in Michigan. Now, if you're looking for the best prices on TVs, furniture, appliances, mattresses, and more, you need to go to abcwarehouse.com. You can shop there and also shop in person at all ABC warehouse locations across Michigan. For the one close to you, go to abcwarehouse.com. Best deals on TVs, appliances, furniture, and mattresses at all ABC warehouse locations in Michigan.
Rod Stewart returns to Soaring Eagle Thursday, September 3rd. The Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series with special guest Richard Marx. Tickets start at $71 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com. One last time, Rod Stewart with Richard Marx, September 3rd, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Okay, 35 after the hour. Welcome back. Tony Anise, who was recently given quite an honor. Not giving anything away here. He's going to be inducted into the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame in December. Is going to join us at 8:35.
He's always one of my favorites to talk to in the media, man. He's a
great guy, great guy, and well accomplished and well deserved of this honor. So he's going to join us coming up. By the way, we've talked about things that you just can't figure out for the life of you in the past. Who's running the WNBA? Did you see what happened yesterday?
You were telling me a little bit about it.
They actually posted a video of Angel Reese and Paige Beckers betting $400 on which women's team would win. They deleted it after realizing it violates league rules. If the NFL or Major League Baseball or the NBA, I want you to think about that for just a moment. If you had, Trae Young betting with Cooper Flagg before a game. Trae Young no longer plays for the Atlanta Hawks, plays for the Washington, but whatever. And they were betting $4,000 instead of $400. The number doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's $4.
It doesn't matter at all. It's the symbolism of betting on your own sport.
the entire league, and can you imagine the NBA putting a video of that out there?
Even thinking to put it out there.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Some of the seriously, some of the dumbest people, somebody's got to lose their job after that. And what's going to happen to these two players? Nothing. Nothing's going to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not to bring up the complete negative, unfortunately, because I like this kid. I think he's going to be a good player. How good, I'm not sure. All right. But we got really wrapped up in Eduardo Valencia. Had the 2-homer game. He's done something only one other Tiger catcher had ever done until this year. It was Rudy York. Remember, we talked about this the other day. 0 for 6 yesterday. That was a tough one. That's a tough one to be saddled with. Doesn't mean I'm judging him on his entire Major League Baseball ability, just like I didn't judge him after a 2-homer game on the same thing. But 0 for 6. Take a deep breath and keep it all under perspective. That's all. Okay? The trade deadline is quickly coming. It's Monday. Not all deals are done at the deadline, as we well know. And the consistent beating of the drum and the headliner has always will be this year until it happens, Tarik Skubal. The best free agent pitcher available is available to a high price. Jeff Passan on ESPN last night telling us it's going to happen quickly.
Yeah, Tarik Skubal is going to be traded. The Tigers haven't gone to teams that are interested in him and said as much at this point, but the expectation is that's going to happen within the next day or two. And frankly, everyone has been expecting it. When you see how the Tigers have played recently, and certainly their game Wednesday was a perfect encapsulation of their season. They understood that they needed to go on a really big run in order to have Tarik Skubal stick around, and they didn't do it. They're taking a healthy view of this. They understand that they have a lot of engaged teams right now. Teams that, in particular, are being cited by others as being the biggest threats, though, the Milwaukee Brewers, who have a tremendous farm system, and, of course, Phil, the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are the favorites at this point and, frankly, have been since the possibility of Tarik Skubal getting traded first surfaced a couple of months ago.
Jeff Passan on ESPN last night. He said something there that I found interesting.
The last part?
No, where he said the way they've been playing recently. Because
oh, yeah, true.
Yeah. So the reason I say that is because I've been told that they've been really good lately. Haven't you? I mean, that's what we've been told. Yeah. Everyone's telling me from June 1st that this is what it's all about. And by the way, what I've heard is, he talked about Milwaukee's farm system, and Milwaukee's farm system is viewed, depending on which website you're looking at least number 2, as high as number 2. Dodgers number 1, Milwaukee as high, I believe, as number 2. Maybe somebody's got them at 1, but they're a consensus top 3 farm system. They have suggested that Jesus Made, the shortstop, AA shortstop, 19 years old, who's a switch hitter, is not available. They're not giving him up. So you could go and look at Luis Pena. You can look at Cooper Pratt, who's a shortstop. You can look at Jet Williams. You can look at Luis Lara. All these are position players. Andrew Fisher, a third baseman. Tyson Harden, who is their highest rated pitcher. He's a right-hander. He's ranked 9th. But you're not going to look at the shortstop that is the number 1 prospect within their system, Jesus Made. So, for what that's worth. But this is interesting. This is a team that is 7 games below the break even. I don't know if I've ever, in all my years of doing this job and being around Detroit sports, I don't know if I've ever heard so much glorification about a team that is this far under 500. Not in football, basketball, hockey, or Tigers organization.
No, and if you're still talking about it after the way that the weekend went with those 2 losses and then the way they lost the 2 games in this series, I don't understand.
You're delusional.
Yeah, I don't know where you're coming from anymore.
Really
if you somehow didn't already have your shit, it was the weekend for me. Like I was like, yep, no doubt, you got to sell at this point. Like they're still the same team.
Yeah, I don't necessarily look at it that way. I'm not going to get so hyperbolic. Like 1 game, 2 games, whatever. Okay. Oh my God, you split with Kansas City. As I said last week, why are you surprised?
No, it was for me.
Every game this year with Kansas City has been, I believe, by 1 run, and 12 straight games has been decided by 2 runs or less. Okay, it's not. I don't get caught up in. I try not to get caught up in that. I look at it as totality of what's going on. Kansas City, for example, is a team that's not very good. It's evident by their record right now. We know that. Yet they were able to beat the Twins, who have a better record and are vying for a playoff spot. And recently said, Ryan Jeffers is not available. Joe Ryan's not available. We're going to build. They need a bullpen too. They got shut out yesterday by Kansas City 4-0. All right. Randy Flippin Dobnik got the win. Okay. So I try not to look at it too hyperbolic in that regard. Oh my gosh, this is the turning point. As I remind people, you still have, I want you to think about this. You have all of August and all of September to make it up.
Absolutely. It has nothing to do with who the opponent is. The Tigers have proven they can beat like teams with good records. It's about the fact that they lost those 2 games on Saturday with the fact they had guys on 1st and 3rd with 1 out, couldn't score a run again, tried to lay down a bunt. With Matt, the bottom of their order has been so bad, and that was proven again with the way that they finished that game. The next day, they have a lead late against a team that you think they should be able to close it out against, and they give up a 2-run shot with 2 strikes because they left Drew Summers in the game. Like it's the
but
way.
Drew Summers, but understand this. Like it's easy to, not saying you, but it's easy to sit back and say, why did you do that? Drew Summers hadn't allowed a run in his last 6 appearances, 5 appearances. It's not like he's been god awful and you keep turning to him every single day and expecting something different. You could understand, I would hope you could understand why Drew Summers was in that ball game.
Sure. It's to me that he's probably not, all the names out of this bullpen are not reliable to me. They haven't been reliable for a long time. I don't really care who it is coming in. So like I said, every time this team wants to give you hope that they're going to do something different or something's going to turn, it feels like even somebody who was doing better, like Drew Summers, like that, ends up giving up a 2-run shot in a moment where you are hoping that he excels. I don't know. It seems like there's always something because none of these guys are actually supposed to be in the roles they're in pitching in moments like this. Like there's always some situation. Then again, the same thing with the end of their lineup the day before. Matt Vierling can't lay down a bunt, can't get the job done. It's been a tough year for him.
Yeah, it's the basics. It's
Spencer
the
Torkelson
fundamentals.
come in and strike out. I mean, it's
yeah. He also hit a 2-run homer to tie it last night. He had a home run the other day that was big as well. This is what baseball does to people. It takes you from one extreme to another. Like you bring up the Drew Summers, as I mentioned, he had not allowed a run in his previous 6 appearances. And then people are going to, like, against Kansas City. He pitched against Kansas City in game 1, didn't allow a run. He pitched against the Cubs in 2 games, didn't allow a run. He pitched twice against the Phillies, did not allow a run. He had pitched twice against the Rangers, did not allow a run.
And this bullpen, he deserved the chance to come in and pitch.
Okay, so
I'm not going to.
So my confusion is suddenly they bring him in against Kansas City again. He allows 2 runs and a home run, and people are like, "What's he doing in the ball game?" And you can't manage from a chair. You have to manage for the moment. And if you're not going to, and it's not like I'm this huge Drew Summers fan. It's a very small sample size for him. All right. And you can't really get caught up in his ERA because relievers, it's very misleading. All right. Although his last 7 days, the whip is 1.7, which is a serious problem.
What have you said about Kyle Finnegan all year? I mean, his ERA has been good. It doesn't feel like he's been as good, at least how I do it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And
with
yesterday
that.
He comes in and gives up 2 more, and it's like it seems like every time he actually needs to pitch good, it doesn't happen.
It seems like that with every arm out of the bullpen. Let's
exactly.
be honest.
That's
the
what I'm getting
bullpen
at.
as a whole has been categorized by all of us, and rightfully so. It is unreliable.
Yeah, there's
there
always
is
somebody.
Nobody you look
somebody.
at and you say, "There, I can depend on that guy." That is not the case. All right, it's the same thing. I think that the organization is dealing with when it comes to Tarek Skubal. When you have people suggesting that this team's never going to spend, they haven't given you a reason why they have. They haven't given you a reason that they have done it in the past. Okay, except for Framber Valdez on a short-term deal. You're not going to get Tarek Skubal on a long-term deal because they have historically not done that. But the other thing, the reason people are saying that the Tigers organization is not run properly and not going to do right by Tarek Skubal, and I've got this guy saying, "Oh my gosh, Tarek Skubal's my guy. How could you ever do something like this?" This to me makes absolutely no sense. Our good friend Bill Simonson said this yesterday. He tweeted it out, and I love his passion. I do. And I love his conviction. And he says, if this was the last start for Skubal in a Tigers uniform, I want to congratulate so many people inside the Tigers organization for helping him run him out of town to the point a massive number of Tigers fans fought for some prospects or fringe big leaguers who may or may not help this team one day. I watched it at the end of Verlander's career and how'd that work out. Well, again, the Verlander thing's different. They had a 1 year left on the contract, shouldn't have traded him, or should have at least held out for more. Okay, and didn't do that. This is a different scenario. The two are not comparable. It's a different scenario because you don't have this guy past this year. So that's first and foremost. Second of all, I'm not in the habit of sticking up for the Tigers organization. All right? But do you honestly believe that they haven't offered some type of contract to Scott Boras and the Tigers?
That's absolutely crazy. And they haven't.
Okay. It's absolutely irresponsible. Of course they have. Have they lowballed him? I don't know. Obviously, it hasn't been enough. Did you ever think that Tarek Skubal at one point, I mean, let's be smart about this. Did you ever at one point this year or in last season, off season, think that they weren't going to go to arbitration or go to free agency?
I mean, you can't.
Did you not think Scott Boras, based on his track record and based on what he has in front of him with Tarek Skubal, did you ever not think they were going to free agency?
You haven't followed this organization if you didn't think it was going to go there.
Well, it's not the organization; it's the representative. And that has nothing to do with the organization. That has nothing to do with the organization. If you don't think Boras was going to take him to free agency, you have not followed Scott Boras and baseball at all. And I'm not saying that about Billy. I'm just saying there's no way they weren't going to free agency. You knew this. You had to prepare for yourself for this. If you follow baseball at all, okay? It's not like they were helping run him out of town. Now, this is where people will judge your organization based on actions. All right? When you go to arbitration with your best pitcher / player, some would say he's their best player. When you go to arbitration and you quote unquote lowball him the way this team did, you have no way to overcome the perception of that problem. You can go back and say, you know what? We wanted to negotiate. We had to put down some type of number. We wanted to negotiate with them, and they didn't negotiate with us. We thought we were getting a phone call back. After giving them the $19 million number, they never did that. They were going in with $32 million to the arbitrators. Right then and there, knowing that, if that's true, knowing that, that organization had to have recognized, ain't no way we're going to be able to sign him.
No question.
He's going to free agency, period.
And again, what I was trying to
it, you should have known it, and I've known that for a long time. So anybody believing that they're being pushed out of the way, it's not realistic.
No, and
it's just not true.
Thinking to the future too, it's like that's what I was trying to say about the organization part of it. Like they're not known to make the long deals like that. Like you had to kind of think they were already thinking about trading him for a while now, because they're probably not going to sign him to an 8-year, 10-year deal. I just never really saw that being.
If they were 57 and 51, it would be different.
Yeah, I mean they would do what they probably set out to do coming into the season. I'd imagine they'd try to keep going for it.
I would think so too.
Yeah,
I would think so too. Instead, this team is now 51 and 58. 7 games under 500. It's not like trying to make up 6 games in the division is a massive deal. And it sure as hell isn't a massive deal to make up 4.5 in the wild card. Probably will be with Tarek Skubal, but we have seen Tarek Skubal, or this team, I should say, more than Skubal himself. We have seen this team miss out on opportunities to win games in which he starts.
Like when you have a 7-0 lead.
Like when you have a 7-0 lead. I want you to think about this for a moment. He's 7-5. The quote unquote best pitcher on the planet only has 7 wins, and he has almost as many losses as wins. And again, not on him all the time, but there have been some games where he just hasn't had it. What player doesn't have those experiences? There's too many of us. Like Billy tweets out that, the members of the media are falling into it. Look, some members of the media are falling into the trap that he wants to be here too. We're just not making much of it. And the reason we're not making much of it is because we trust the player more than we trust the organization. We like the player more than we like the ownership. We believe in the player more than we believe in the franchise. And I get it because of what he's done. 2-time Cy Young Award winner, Triple Crown winner. Meanwhile, you have an owner who said, I'll spend when I'm ready, and doesn't, except for Framber Valdez. And you have a front office who has made trades that do not leave you feeling positive about your franchise at all. Phone number on the wire hotline, 866-838-4843. The text line, Sports Radio 21,000. We'll get to some of those texts on the other side. You can also join us in the chat as we stream live on Facebook, on X, and on YouTube on a Tullymore Thursday.
Huge here for the Carmody brothers and all the Buffalo Wild Wings locations in Michigan. Hey, summer's in full swing. You can watch all the Tigers games at all Buffalo Wild Wings locations. Also, the football season will be here before you know it. Lions, Michigan, Michigan State, Central, Western, Eastern, Grand Valley, Ferris, Michigan Tech, Saginaw Valley State, Northwood, and more on all the TVs all season long and all Buffalo Wild Wings in Michigan.
The big shows are at Soaring Eagle. Eric Church.
All you gotta do is put a drink in my hand.
Friday, August 14th with special guest Ashley McBride. The Free the Machine Tour, part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series. Tickets start at $87 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com.
Drink a little drink, smoke a little smoke.
The party starts with Eric Church plus Ashley McBride, August 14th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community, just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact that Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Get ready for the hottest Saturdays of the summer at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Now through August, we're dropping over $1 million in free play. Every hour from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., 10 winners score $600 in free play. $1 Million Summer is back, so don't miss your shot at big summer wins. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
I mean, some of these accomplishments just hit different. You know, that one, for whatever reason, just felt more special than every other one. The first time I struck out 200 in a season felt special to me. And I don't really know why. It just kind of, as I was getting closer, it was just like, this is pretty cool, you know. And then you kind of take in my career, and you just kind of, you know, you get a little bit nostalgic, I guess, in those moments of my story, right? I don't know if I could have convinced myself when I was 19 that I'd strike out 1,000 guys in the big leagues. So there's just little things like that are special, you know, and it might not mean a lot. You know, the guy right next to me's got 3,500 of them, but nonetheless, you know, they're special to me.
Tarek Skubal, who had 6 strikeouts in what could be his final start as a Tigers pitcher, now has 1,005 overall. He had mentioned 200 in a season. He did that in back-to-back years. In 2024, he had led the league in strikeouts with 228. The following season, he had 241. This year so far, in, 96 innings, he's got 116 punch-outs. Somebody's going to get a good one.
You know, we both want him, the organization, to trade him. At least I'm pretty sure. But
I don't want them to trade him. I think they have to.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I think there is a difference. I want him to stay a Tiger. There's a big difference between wanting and needing.
And that's where sports are unfair sometimes, because it sucks. You feel like you have to get rid of this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the reason I feel that way is because I don't think the organization will or should give a 30-year-old somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 years.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
At least $40 million a year. That's just my belief. That doesn't mean I'm wrong, and it doesn't mean that if you believe they should, that you're wrong. It's a mindset. I wouldn't extend Jahmyr Gibbs right now, and he's a young, productive player. I wouldn't extend a pitcher that long. I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. I would do that with an everyday player. I wouldn't do that with a pitcher. I would extend him, but I wouldn't extend him 8 to 10 years. And I don't know what he wants. But the belief is that Scott BrO's is going to take him to free agency and is expecting a long-term contract similar to what he got Garrett Cole when Garrett Cole was 29 years old. Okay? So I wouldn't do that. That doesn't mean I don't want him here. It means I wouldn't do it because I don't think it makes very good sense to do it. You look at it historically, and I think the numbers and the examples are on my side. That said, I also am not one who believes that this team of Tarek Skubal and Scott BrO's necessarily wants to be here. I know he says that. I know he says all the right things. If anybody else says this and they don't do it, you're saying, show me. Show me the money. If there's a sales guy in your organization, he's saying, I've got this great deal and this is what I'm going to, great. Show me that it's going to happen. If you got somebody who wants to hire you and keeps telling you over and over and over again, hey, I'm going to bring you on my team sometime soon. Show me. Stop talking about it. He hasn't done that, nor has Scott BrO's. And if you know anything about the BrO's organization, doesn't mean he's wrong, but if you know anything about it, he takes his guys to free agency so they can maximize their financial potential. Why doesn't anybody see this? The belief that you've got out-of-town media tweeting, why don't the Tigers just extend him? Do you really, as a member of the media following sports, think it's that easy? It's not going to happen. And it sure as hell isn't going to be for the amount of money that I think he's going to want. That's all. So anyway, Andy, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Oh, no, you're good.
Go ahead.
I mean, that's
you said neither one of us want him here. I want him. I just don't think.
Yeah, and that's a good way to make that difference, because I'm not trying to say like it's the wrong way to say it, to say that we don't not want it, because we do want him here. It's that you feel like you have to make the move. And that's what sucks sometimes about sports, because it's not like either one of us want to see one of the best pitchers in the game leave the team. It feels like what you have to do right now. And I feel like if most people you'd ask, they're just not being honest with themselves if they don't think that's the right decision at this point.
Well, how long is long enough? When you're looking at a team, How long is long enough? I said this from last year, second half of last year, through the other day. They were 5 games above 500, 137 and 132. It's changed a little bit because of the series with Baltimore, and that might have been just before the series with Kansas City. But either way, they split the series with the Royals, and they lost the series to Baltimore. So they're no longer 5 games above 500. This season has played out. They've played 2/3 of the season, Andy. If you don't think this team is who they are right now, when do you, and please do not give me the question that was asked to Spencer Torkelson or answered via Spencer Torkelson, who still believes, and as a player you probably have to, that the Tigers can make the playoffs, even though, because he said the team, his words, remembers it was a 0.2% chance a couple of years ago. I don't know what the percentage is now, he said, but it's going to be higher than that. This team is confident we can make a run. Okay, he should feel that way. As an athlete, I don't want the mindset of him giving up. But as a neutral observer, which is what we're all supposed to be, but have a hard time doing it, how long is long enough for you to identify what this team is and what they aren't? We seem to be willing to judge players, rookies, 19, 20-year-old players in any sport, based on half a year. They're a bust. Based on 1 year, I would get rid of them. I would send them down. We're willing to do that. But a team that gives you over 2/3 of a season, you're not willing to judge them now?
And they had their chances. I mean, sure, they've had a good record since June 1st. I don't think there's any question about that. But they haven't been good enough to dig themselves out of the hole they dug in May. So, I don't know what you're waiting on for them to, they're not going to, if you really think it's a smart decision going forward to not try to get pieces back at this point when you're just trying to make the playoffs, I mean, there's definitely no guarantee. Not even close.
No.
So I don't
Can I play? And I agree with you. The devil's advocate is this. There's no guarantee who you're getting for Skubal is going to be worth a damn.
That's fair. Either. But if you don't make some of those trades, I'm not even talking about just Skubal at this point. We talked about Gleyber Torres and some of the other names that you might want to trade out there. I mean, if you can get anything for Kenley Jansen at this point, whatever it might be, why wouldn't you do it? I just don't understand at this point. You're how many games on the wild card now? What is it? 4.5, something like that.
Yeah,
they were 3.5 going into yesterday. You had your chances even just this week to put yourself back in contention and really actually be right there, and they didn't do it again. And that's kind of just what's happened every time they've had a chance to get back to the 500 mark or get closer in that wild card race. They just don't do it. So I don't know what else you need to see. I think you're exactly right with that.
You bring up June 1st, and I understand why people lean on that. I do.
The record is what the record is, but they haven't been playing as good the last week or so.
Okay, they're 29 and 20 since June 1st. So at some point we're going to go, okay, enough is enough of the comparison or using that as the example. Okay, I don't know if people remember this. In June, they were 4 games above 500. That's it.
15 and 11. Yep.
Okay, yeah, 15 and 11. Now they're 29 and 20, which is fine. It's good. It's not like they're running away with any honors of everybody. Every single team in baseball is going, you know what? The team I worry about is the Tigers. That's not it. They've lost 4 of their last 5. Are you going to look at since June 1st because that's been hammered into our brain, or are you going to look at what's recently happened?
Well, in 3 of those last 4, if you could have won at least 3 of those last 4, maybe you lose one of them, whatever, but that's the difference. They needed to do that to get back to where they needed to be because of the hole they were in. If you're really that good, you would have won some of those games. That's all.
Yes. And we all know primarily because the last couple of games, the offense has been on fire. We all know it's the starting pitching more than anything else. And sure, the upcoming schedule is favorable. They go to take on the A's, then it's Seattle, and then I believe it's San Francisco. None of those teams are over 500. Of course, neither is Detroit. But we all know it's the starting pitching. Now, the starting pitching, you have to question just a little bit. It's fair to. Outside of Melton, you got Melton and Skubal and Mize and Montero. I like that foursome. I do. But they're not to golf, but to pitch. I think, most of us were just in the belief that the starting pitching was going to be rock solid because you got Valdez, you've got Flaherty, and you got Verlander to back it up. Valdez hasn't been very good. Flaherty's hurt, and Verlander's only pitched 3 2/3 innings this year. We got to take a quick timeout. Tony Annese, one of the latest members of the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame, middle of December, he'll go in, and rightfully so. He's going to join us at 8:35 on X's and Bros.
The stock market goes up and then it goes down. It's fine while you're saving for retirement, but as you get closer to retirement, it can cause stress. Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. In my NFL days, this season could be a real roller coaster and a lot of fun, but roller coasters in retirement aren't as much fun. Do world events have you wondering if your retirement is safe? Will your money last even if the stock market were to take a dive? Have you had your retirement account stress tested to see what kind of risk you're actually taking? Let's not leave your retirement to chance. Hope is not a plan. Contact the pros at Mitch Lyons Wealth today and put us to work for you. Let's ensure your plan works even if the stock market doesn't. Text PLAN, PLAN, to 844-867-8335. That's PLAN to 844-867-8335. MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. Investment advisory services are offered through MLW Advisory Services, LLC, DBA Mitch Lyons Wealth, a registered investment advisor.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at FreddieThePizzaMan.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit FreddieThePizzaMan.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Okay, back with you 18 after the hour on this Tullymore Thursday. This hour of X's and Bros proudly brought to you by our friends at Meyer. 8:35. Really impressive Michigan Sports Hall of Fame class that will go in December. Among the names, Lions center Kevin Glover, Shock All-Star Swin Cash, Heisman Trophy winner Mark Ingram, gold medal swimmer Pete Vanderkay, baseball executive Bill LaJoy, Red Wings broadcaster and friend of the program Paul Woods, and Ferris State head coach Tony Annese, who will join us at 8:35. Really impressive group. Again, in December is when that happens. It's 18 after the hour. Here's our Mitch Lions Well poll question for you. Would you extend Jahmyr Gibbs, the Lions running back? Yes or no? Did not practice yesterday. One person's belief, the man's under contract. He's got 2 years left on his contract. And if you're going to hold in, which is today's in phrase in sports, he's going to hold in. In other words, he's not going to practice, but he's going to be at practice, but he's not going to practice. Come on, man. I mean, are fans going to hold him accountable? He's got 2 years left on his contract. Anyway, vote as often as you want. Yes or no. At XB Mornings. You can follow us on Twitter. That's the handle there. It's also our Instagram and a whole lot more. Join us and vote as often as you want. The results come your way Friday morning, 8 o'clock here on X's and Bros. Every Thursday, 7:18, we do a little fixing of things. We called a segment with Andy McDonald called Handy Andy.
Andy did a great job. Caught the criminals, the city is clear. The citizens can now all sleep peacefully.
No police sirens going off right now. So
no,
I'm in the studio,
not yet.
Not out there fighting
yes.
crime.
Good. That's good. That means you're safe. Everything's fine. That means Katie's okay too.
Yeah, she's fine.
Stuff.
Yeah, she's good. She's sleeping today. She didn't have to.
Although yesterday you did take one for the team, right? I mean, you did go to a concert last night.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't completely not enjoy it, but yeah, it's
Don't
not.
cover yourself. You didn't want to go. Come on.
Yeah, 5
it's
seconds.
Okay to say that. I've done it too.
Yeah,
I've done it for I went to Luther Vandross in Milwaukee with my wife. He's an incredibly talented singer, or was an incredibly talented singer. I had no desire. That is not who I am.
Yeah, sure.
I would not go to that concert. If my wife didn't want to go, I would not have gone to the concert. She's not going to go watch Metallica with me. She's not going to AC/DC. Why did I have to do it? I did it because she's my wife.
You
did it for Katie. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Fair enough.
Just stand on the principle. I didn't want to go, but I went for you. That's okay to admit. It
was her birthday present that I got her before she knew that I was getting her the ring. So that was
okay.
That was where that came from.
I was going to say a little bit of a cheapskate there, but the ring made up for it.
Yeah,
for sure.
no, for sure.
All right, let's do the Handy Andy. You ready? Here's the first thing that you have to fix. Fix the Jahmyr Gibbs contract situation.
Well, is there really? The question is this one: how do you fix it unless you extend him? At this point. Seems like he's kind of standing on what he's going to do. I think the way that the Lions can, go the best way about it for fixing it for themselves maybe is just to keep playing the game of holding out as long as they can, I guess, too. Because at the end of the day, I think he's going to play football. I don't think he's going to not play this season. So if they keep the stance of where they're at right now and making the best decisions for their organization, which is obviously have other people they have to decide if they want to extend on this team. It's not just him. I think right now what they're doing with the control that they still have over them, it makes the most sense for the Lions to go about it the way they're kind of going about it right now. If you're going to extend him, I think you should at least be having the talks with him about it, obviously, and I'm sure they are. It depends on how much money he's going to want, and it seems like him and Bijan are both playing the game of waiting to see who gets the first one so they can use it as leverage, it almost feels like. I think if you're the Lions, you stay in the position that you're at kind of right now where you're just – even if he's not practicing and it's weird and hard to say and talk to the fans and media about it, maybe it seems like it's the right stance the Lions are taking right now on it.
Highest paid running back is Saquon Barkley.
Yep, 20.6 million.
20.6 million. Yep. He's got a total value of 41 million. Right now, you look at Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's making 14 and change million per year. What do you give him?
I mean, if that's the top one right now, I wouldn't want to go much higher than that. I mean, I understand why he would want more than that with how good he's been, I suppose. But yeah, I wouldn't go much higher than what Saquon's making right now.
Okay. I don't know how it affects their overall team contractual situation. I go back to I just would not have paid Jared Goff $53 million a year.
Yep. And if you can't get him to scale it back, it makes it tougher.
It makes it much tougher, but it also puts you in a tougher spot as a franchise.
Absolutely.
Okay. Financially, just kicking that can down the road. Next. How do you fix a bad sugar habit? If you're addicted to the chocolates and you're addicted to some of the sugars, whether it be gumdrops or jelly beans or whatever, how do you get out of it?
Yeah, I definitely
have a healthy alternative.
I've like kind of gotten away from the sugar like candy myself.
How'd you do that?
I've got a couple I mean, for me, like I guess candy's just not the first thing I go for when I want something that's not great for me. But to get away from sugar in general, because I definitely still need that sometimes. I would say that eating an apple is a good way to do it. I think that's always been the one thing that I kind of go to. My mom, like I think when I was
natural sugars, then
yeah, like she I think she tricked me when I was a kid. She told me that like Honeycrisp apples like taste like candy. So I feel like that's what I would go to is something like an apple or something sweeter that's a fruit to get away from it. I think that's candy has never been like the toughest thing for me to get away from because I just am not that into it anyway. But that's the way that I go for eating healthier, I guess.
So what's your vice then? I mean, some people are either categorized as a salt or a sweet. I'm a sweet, not sweet person, but I have the sugar. My wife is the salt. She likes the chips and the crackers.
Yeah, that's me.
That
so that's 100% it. Yep, I got to stay away from that stuff. So,
okay, final one for Handy Andy.
I'm ready for it.
Fix the Tigers bullpen.
Easy one to fix right now. I mean, with their situation right now.
Don't use any of them?
Yeah, I would say if you want to fix it, you blow it up and start it all over. That'd be the easiest way to do it. If I was working on if the Tigers bullpen was my house, I would blow it up and work restart from the bottom. But and that's probably not the nicest way to put it, but that's just the truth. You can't fix it that easily. I mean, this team, the one thing about the bullpen being your problem is that's usually the one position at the deadline that you can probably access the most easiest. So if they really wanted to go that route, they could probably trade, a couple of guys to get some guys that are in the majors right now, kind of like a Kyle Finnegan last year, something along those lines. I'm sure they could go out and try to find to fix it, but you would need at least two guys. Obviously the Tigers don't like to use the term closer with their team. You would probably need at least like two guys that are back end guys in their bullpen to fix this problem right now. I think they've proven that they have some guys that can pitch in the lower leverage situations, but it seems like whenever they test some of these new guys enough, like Drew Summers, who we talked about earlier, or other pitchers, eventually it's going to give. They need to get away from that and try to find a couple of guys they did try to do that with Kenley Jansen. I understand that he was aging. I didn't hate the move when they did it. It wasn't my favorite move ever, but it wasn't the worst one. They just had a tough time figuring that out, and they need to go find a couple of guys that are going to do that for them in the future. Have to get back end arms.
The problem is there's not a select pool from which to choose down in Toledo.
Exactly. Yep. The depth in the organization is not great there.
Yeah. There's no high strikeout guy, which is something you need at the end. Sawyer Gibson Long, I suppose, but he's not a back end player. That's an issue for this team. And really for this entire organization, there's no one that they can say, you know what, I'm getting rid of this player to bring up this guy because this guy's been so good. So for example, Andy and I were talking about this during the break. What would you do? Would you bring up a guy like Max Clark? Like if I were the Tigers, if I were running, I would trade Skubal. I would trade Torres. I would DFA James Outman, and I would bring up Max Clark.
I don't disagree with much of that at all.
Those are issues. Those are things that I would do, and I would play Max Clark every day. And Matt Vierling being hurt, he can't play right field.
Max Clark should be playing every day for this team after the deadline. I feel like.
I think you're right about that. Quick timeout. I know a lot of people want to bring up Max Anderson. I understand that he's hitting over 300 in Toledo. I'd consider that too. as at the September 1st call-up. Quick timeout. When we come back, we'll get to some of your texts. This is Tullamore Thursday, brought to you by Meyer here on X's and Bros.
Do you have old retirement accounts still at former employers that could use some attention? Do you have accounts that the only time you hear from the advisor is when you call them? It might be time to take stock of your retirement and stop settling for less than you deserve. Having retirement accounts doesn't equal having a retirement plan. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Stop procrastinating and let's coordinate your retirement accounts and make sure you have a plan for success in retirement. At Mitch Lyons Wealth, we help people make sense of all the moving parts of retirement: taxes, income, risk, Social Security, healthcare, and legacy. It all works together, so let's make sure all parts of your plan are working together and not fighting themselves. Let's create a retirement of steel. Contact us today to schedule a brief chat to talk about your situation. If it makes sense, we can talk further. If you're good as is, we'll let you know that too. Go to MitchLyonsWealth.com or text PLAN to 844-867-8335. That's PLAN to 844-867-8335. Investment advisory services are offered by MLW Advisory Services, a state-registered investment advisor.
Our state is Mecca for golf, and one of Michigan's crown jewels is Tullamore and St. Ives, two world-class championship courses in one charming and beautiful location. The golf is challenging but fair. You're going to use every club in your bag. But let me tell you what makes Tullamore really special. It's the people. From the wait staff to the bartenders to the pro shop and the management, their sole purpose is to give you a memorable experience, and they do. Go to TullymoreGolf.com today and experience a Michigan masterpiece.
Good addition of Handy Andy.
I'm getting better at fixing things. Maybe.
You're gonna have
real
to.
life. I don't know.
Once
but...
you and Katie move into a house, you guys you're gonna have to. All right, you're gonna have to. That's how you save some money. If there's a regret I have, I wish I was a little bit better in that regard. My daughter and I went for a long walk the other day. I asked her, "What's something you regret?" She had to think about it for a little bit. She brought up a past relationship, which I would agree. As father of a daughter, I would say. She asked me the same thing, and I said, I wish I took the time to be more skilled at fixing things around the house and maybe even cars. See, it's different today. I don't know many high schools that have this. When I was in high school, we had an auto shop, a wood shop and an auto shop. Literally had about, let's say, 4 garages where you could pull to the back of the school, pull into a garage, and during school, one of the classes was mechanics or shops, and you could fix cars. You could work on cars. So I had about, I would say 5 or 6 good friends who used to do that, and they were excellent at it. We didn't take our cars to mechanics. We took our cars to my high school for friends of mine to work on them, and they would fix them, and no problem. They were really good at it, and one of them still is excellent at it to this day. I suppose it never leaves you. Anyway, good job on Handy Andy for sure. Let me get to some text.
I'll figure out a way to get better with the actual fixing of stuff. But yeah, that's I'm glad that the segment's going better.
Yes, no question about it. Fun segment for sure. Let me get to some texts here real quick. And I think this is fair. Let's take a look at one of them. Scott Harris is a whole nother discussion. I'm going to give him till August 3rd to make this everyday lineup his. In other words, it's not his. A lot of people have written this. It's not necessarily his team. It can be your team. Just because they're not all your players doesn't mean it can't be your team, right? But AJ needs to go, according to this texter. This team needs a new voice. Coaches need new voices. No one demanded on why Cora was fired. It's ridiculous. Well, that's a good point. I mean, not that it demanded. He's not going to give you an answer on that. I don't know what the interview was like between the beat writers and the manager. I think it's a fair question, though. Why was Joey? They both. The answer was we both agreed it was time to part ways. You and I both know why he's fired, right? He's fired because they're making too many damn outs at home. That's not that hard to figure that out. But you're right. Nobody really demanded on a firm answer. The other thing ridiculous is Colt Keith. Cannot play defense. We all saw the bad play at third base a few days ago. Trade him already, among others who have been here long under AJ and are who they are. I'm tired of Scott Harris and his snail-ass pace. Well, it's easy to sit there and just say, why don't you just trade a guy? If a guy is one-dimensional, and Colt Keith is, he's one-dimensional. He's a hitter. That's it. This was my argument even while I was calling games for the Tigers. My problem was you've got a lot of guys who are DHs. They're not very good defensively. With all due respect, Kerry Carpenter is not great defensively. Colt Keith, not great defensively. You've got too many players, Wenzel Perez, who are just offensive guys. And really their offense is limited as well. If they were all, I was going to say Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but he's having a terrible season. If they were all of that type of player, it would be different. You can hide them as a DH because you can justify them as a DH. Juan Soto, although he does play left field a lot. It's more, if they were Yordan Alvarez, they're not fielders. You have to have somebody to take their place. To say, let's just trade Colt Keith, what makes you think anybody else wants a one-dimensional player like that if you don't want that one-dimensional player? But it's frustrating, for sure, that guys have not gotten better defensively. Shep, Tarek's a great pitcher, but you'll leave here with no great moment. the way JV and Lolich and Morris and Fidrich and others talking much down the stretch? Well, that's a great question. What is Tarek Skubal's finest moment? Please don't say a complete game. Please, I beg of you, don't say a complete game. All right? I think the moment for Tarek Skubal is not necessarily one singular moment, but a full season. You win a Triple Crown, that's special. All right? Don't tell me that in 2024, when he went 18-4, had a 2.39 ERA and led the league in wins and led the league in strikeouts and led the league in ERA and led the league in FIP and was a Triple Crown winner and finished 7th in the MVP. It wasn't special. I'm sure you think it was as well. I think that's the if it encapsulates one moment. Leaving the mound in Cleveland. I don't know the answer to that. He hasn't had a no-hitter. He's got playoff wins. He's got one complete game. That's it. I think it's not one singular moment. It's one season. If that makes sense. What's the moment for Jack Morris? Is it the no-hitter in Chicago? What was the moment for Lolich? It was 3 World Series games, right? Yeah. Game 7 primarily? Okay. Yeah. What was it for Fidrich? He was Rookie of the Year. He had a lot of moments because he's patting down the mound and he was talking to the baseball. Monday Night Baseball against the Yankees? Is that what it was? Okay. I'm not sure. But I think one season when you win a Triple Crown, I think there's enough in there for people to remember that season. Yeah, I think so. It's a very interesting question. If I said to you, what's the one moment for Miguel Cabrera as a Tiger? What would it be? What's the moment for Kirk Gibson? It's the World Series home run against Goose Gossage, right? What's the moment for Alan Trammell? What's the moment for fill in the blank? It's a hard question to answer because I think it's made up of multiple moments during a single season for Tarek Skubal. Shep, a week ago, all these national guys, Passan himself, were saying they're not trading Skubal because they're playing well. It's such listening to crap and the stuff like that is worthless. I understand their frustration because you're right. That's what I mean. Up and down, how a team's playing, how a team's not playing. You're right. Last week, what was it? This Tigers team's really good. They may as well keep him. Bob Nightingale said it. Jeff Passan said it. Buster Olney said it. All these insiders said it. Now they're all like, well, that's it. Now you got to trade him. Shep, baseball would do themselves a favor by playing less games on TV and fans can listen on the radio more to see less of the same players over 162. Well, that's never going to happen. I'm glad it's not that way. I want to watch them, but that's never going to happen. Not with the television rights, the amount of money that teams bring in. You want the team to spend? You want your team to go out and get better players and reward them financially? You can do that only through television rights, not radio rights. I did see recently, different sport, the Columbus Blue Jackets fired their 17-year play-by-play voice on radio because they're simulcasting television over the radio. Most people believe, you know what, they are two different entities. And as a play-by-play voice on TV and radio in multiple sports, they are different, except for hockey. Because hockey is decorated with so many advertisements on the boards and on the ice, and it can be challenging to find the puck, the play-by-play voice talks more than they in any other sport. Basketball, you don't have to say every single time a bucket is made. Baseball, you don't have to recognize every single ground ball to second. And in football, you can say less with more, or more with less, I should say. But hockey, you have to tell people where it is, more oftentimes than not. Shep, Brad gave Goff $53 million a year because of all those stupid Goff chants and to make him feel better because Stafford and LA won the Super Bowl without him. Brad must have had to stick this guy to say he was right. I don't think that's why he gave him $53 million. He didn't give him $53 million. I thought it was egregious, okay? But he didn't give it to him saying, because everybody wanted him to, and it didn't do it because Matthew Stafford just won a Super Bowl and wants to make him feel better. Brad Holmes cannot, at least I hope he doesn't, cannot manage a team based on emotion. That's what gets you in trouble. Oh my gosh, they're chanting his name at a Pistons game. I've got to reward him. No. Oh my goodness. Matthew Stafford just won a Super Bowl. I don't want him to show up my quarterback, so I'm going to reward him. No. It's based on the market. It's based on projections. And it's based on, of course, what have you done for me? And if you look at Jared Goff's numbers and what he's done as a Lion, they have been exceptionally impressive. I just think the money's too much. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, for sure. I think it's understandable why he wanted that much money, Jared Goff, because of the numbers he put up. Like he had an argument for sure. But I think now the way you look at it, it's like you'd like him to take a little bit less, just because it would keep their team better, probably.
Yeah, for sure. Look, in fairness to Jared Goff, from a total value standpoint, I don't know how you want to look at it. Even from an average year standpoint, he ranks in the top 10, but it's not like he's top 5. It's Patrick Mahomes, who's averaging $64 million a year. It's Dak Prescott, $60 million. It's Joe Burrow, $55. Josh Allen, $55. Jordan Love, $55. Trevor Lawrence, $55. Matt Stafford, $55. In fairness to Brad Holmes and the Lions, Jared Goff makes the same as Brock Purdy. Fork to nose, Andy. Who makes more, Jared Goff or Lamar Jackson?
Jared Goff.
Who makes more, Jared Goff or Justin Herbert?
Jared Goff.
Who makes more, Jared Goff or Jalen Hurts?
Jared Goff.
All but Herbert have accomplished more than Jared Goff. So, I mean, from a personal standpoint for Lamar Jackson, Goff's at least taken his team to a Super Bowl. Again, you know how I feel about it. I think $53 million was too much.
Yeah,
but
completely agree with that.
But you understand the landscape of it.
Yep,
I
don't like
is
it
the
either.
market is. Yeah, the market is what it is. I mean, look, Macklin Celebrini is one of the best hockey players in the world. He's going to make $18.8 million. He's making more than Connor McDavid. He's making more than Leon Draisaitl. He's making more than Austin Matthews. He's making more than anybody else in hockey. Do you think that's right? It's the market. Who am I to say that it's wrong? Who am I to say that Jared Goff's contract is too much? I just probably wouldn't do that. Somebody would do it. Somebody's going to do it because you turn around and you look at the market. It's just, it's frustrating because that's just the way it is.
It's not like the Lions could just replace him that easily and just have a good quarterback again. Like you got to pay.
You're screwed if he's out.
Exactly.
You're completely screwed if he goes down. Completely. And you could say the same thing about a lot of teams. So I don't disagree with that. I mean, Cooper Rush just got signed. There you go. All right. Of all the starters, think about it. I mean, Fernando Mendoza signed a contract worth $53 million, and he hasn't thrown an NFL pass. He's making more than Kirk Cousins, his teammate. He's making more than Cam Ward. Do you think Bryce Young and Caleb Williams feel a little frustrated that they make less than a guy who hasn't thrown a pass, or a guy who's about to throw his last in Aaron Rodgers, or Malik Willis, who hasn't done as much? Deshaun Watson hasn't played in 2 years, and he makes more money than a lot of guys.
I think he just threw another pick six at training camp, actually.
He makes more than the guy who just won a Super Bowl. Sam Darnold just won a Super Bowl, and Deshaun Watson makes more than he does. Deshaun Watson makes $46 million. So instead of me getting upset about Jared Goff, maybe you should just get upset about the market and how much these guys are making for not accomplishing nearly enough. Shep, you didn't agree when I said bring up Max Clark last week. What's changed in 1 week, in your opinion? Well, what's changed is this team's situation and what they're going to have to do in order. Max Clark hit his 11th home run of the season last night. He's batting about 275 or so. It's not that I didn't agree with you. What I said was, I think the team believes that he must need more seasoning. Here's what's changed. Veerling's hurt. Okay. Outman, I've never been a huge fan of, but you needed someone to take the place and allow. I think my belief is, in order for a young person to be called up at this time of the year, I think they have to play every day. Now you can put Javier Baez in center field.
Yeah, that's the question, though.
But I would
play
center
field.
I would play Max Clark every day. I would put, so what has changed? A few situations. Outman, more at bats and more convinced. Not that I wasn't already. Veerling's injury, the fact that this team is in all likelihood going to sell. Like I said, I would sell Skubal and I would sell Torres. I would DFA Outman. I would bring up Max Clark, play him every day. If you had to make another move because Veerling goes on the injured list or whatever, maybe you bring up a Max Anderson, put him at second base, move how you lead a third.
So what do you do with Javi Baez, though? Does he just not play for us?
He plays once in a while.
Okay.
We all know he's not going to be the future of this team.
I understand that. I'm just asking the question from like that perspective. Yeah. Like, what would you? Because if you're the Tigers organization and you're AJ Hinch, like, what do you do with Javi Baez?
Okay, you can play him. You play him in center field. You can play him at shortstop once in a while you make McGonigal a DH. You could DH him if you wanted. What you have to do, I'm not saying now is exactly the time. July 30th is not exactly the date, but at some point you're going to have to recognize that who's going to be the guys for next year. What day is that? They have a plan for that. Maybe it's later. Maybe it's middle of August. I don't know. But at some point, that's what you want to do. You want to bring some guys up, and if you're going to bring them up, you're going to want to play them on a regular basis, and you want to see what they have. James Outman is not going to be playing for you next year. Javier Baez will not be playing for you next year. Gleyber Torres will not be playing for you next year. If you still think that you can make the playoffs, then you keep Javier Baez and playing him in center field and Gleyber Torres and things of that nature. I mean, I wouldn't even do that with Torres, quite honestly. But how much are you losing if you're going to move how you lead us to third, away from second, where he's a 0.4 WAR player, and you bring up a guy like Max Anderson, who's batting 306 right now in AAA. Eduardo Valencia proved what he was worth. Has not Max Anderson done the same thing? If you're going to get rid of one of your second basemen at the trade deadline, like I propose, slide in another second baseman. You don't have a third baseman anyway, so don't act like, oh my gosh, I can't move how you lead a third. He's played there enough where you should be able to do that. Or move McGonigal to third and put Javier Baez at shortstop, depending on the pitcher. There are different ways you can do it. You don't have to sit Javier Baez for the rest of the season. You can get him at bats and you can get him in the field at some place. All right? That's what I would do. Our phone number on the Meijer hotline, 866-838-4843. The text, Sports Radio 21000. Join us in the chat as we stream live on YouTube, X, and on Facebook. This hour of X's and Bros, proudly brought to you by Meijer.
The stock market goes up and then it goes down. It's fine while you're saving for retirement, but as you get closer to retirement, it can cause stress. Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. In my NFL days, this season could be a real roller coaster and a lot of fun, but roller coasters in retirement aren't as much fun. Do world events have you wondering if your retirement is safe? Will your money last even if the stock market were to take a dive? Have you had your retirement account stress tested to see what kind of risk you're actually taking? Let's not leave your retirement to chance. Hope is not a plan. Contact the pros at Mitch Lyons Wealth today and put us to work for you. Let's ensure your plan works even if the stock market doesn't. Text PLAN, P-L-A-N, to 844-867-8335. That's PLAN to 844-867-8335. MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. Investment advisory services are offered through MLW Advisory Services, LLC, DBA Mitch Lyons Wealth, a registered investment advisor.
The big shows are at Soaring Eagle. Eric Church.
All you gotta do is put a drink in my hand.
Friday, August 14th with special guest Ashley McBride. The Free the Machine Tour, part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series. Tickets start at $87 and are on sale now at the box office and etix.com.
Drink a little drink, smoke a little smoke.
The party starts with Eric Church plus Ashley McBride, August 14th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Put your faves on repeat with new Meyer Subscribe. It's easy to add subscriptions with your Meyer home delivery or pickup order. From fridge and pantry to pets and paper towels, big, small, or in between. Subscribe to Purina, Pampers, and all your favorite brands. We'll shop as often as you like when you like. Just press set up a subscription while shopping and choose a frequency. We'll take care of the rest. New Meyer Subscribe keeps you supplied with what you need when you need it. Download the Meyer app to start a subscription with your home delivery or pickup order today.
Huge here for my good friend Josh Garvey and the team at Dorn, Mayhew, West Michigan, one of the world's top accounting, CPA, and business firms. Our worldwide headquarters are in Troy, Michigan, on the east side of the state. And Josh and his team connect with all the sports fans and businesses across Michigan. They bring you John Beeline on the Huge Show. They bring you Lomas Brown during the Lion season. They are a top shelf team when it comes to growth and understanding what their clients need. And mix in when we do the Beat Huge contest or the NCAA March Madness brackets. Thank you, Josh Garvey, for what you do for the Huge Show and the Michigan Sports Network. Simple and easy. Just find Dorn Mayhew on all the social networks or just Google Dorn Mayhew and find out how they can help your business. And again, a special thanks to Josh Garvey and the Dorn Mayhew team in West Michigan.
of course, you guys know how we feel about Gibbs and all of our guys, the forwards, and so we'll take this as it comes. This is, this will kind of continue. It'll come as it comes. I think that's the best way to say it. And so this is both sides working through something, and we'll take it as it comes. But that's what it is.
That's Dan Campbell talking about Jahmyr Gibbs and the possibility of Jahmyr Gibbs and the extension that one would assume that he's looking for. You know what's interesting? I remember it wasn't long ago where just a few years ago where the Lions, Jared Goff got so much flack for throwing the 5 picks in Houston, and I get it, rightfully so. But Houston was up big in that game, 23-7, I want to say. We focused on Jared Goff's negative statistics and how he was ineffective and doesn't deserve this, that, or the other thing because of the way he played. And he'd be the first to admit that he didn't play well in that game. How come we don't look at C.J. Stroud giving that game away? Any idea? I'm just trying to think. That's all. Out loud here. He threw 2 massive picks in that game. Massive picks. and we rarely bring that up when we're associated with the Houston game. Have you ever noticed that?
No, yeah, it's definitely not brought up a lot. That's for sure.
Yeah. We look at it as one of the worst games that Jared Goff had ever played in a Lions uniform.
I mean, I think that is true.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I mean, he went 15 of 30, he threw 5 picks. He also threw 2 touchdowns in that game. And
he played that bad of a game and they won. And remember, that's what always stuck out to me about that game.
Yes, he did.
That's how that team just felt like they were gonna win, no matter what. You know, that's how it felt for a while that year.
Yeah, I also felt early on. I felt like, well, he just doesn't have it. But have you noticed? Do you know what his line was? Do you know what C.J. Stroud's line was?
I don't. I know.
That's what I'm wondering.
Offhand, that's for sure.
Okay, because that's what everybody focuses on, at least in Detroit, and we should. I'm not saying we shouldn't. That's one of those things that make you shake your head a little bit and go, "What in the world is going on here? Why is he?" C.J. Stroud that game threw for 232 yards. Jared Goff threw for more. C.J. Stroud also threw those 2 massive picks and took sacks, 4 of them. We don't bring that up at all.
No, it's definitely not talked about in the Detroit area as much, just because of what Jared Goff did during that game.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying we shouldn't bring up the Jared Goff situation. I'm just telling you.
I understand what you're saying, though. There was also somebody else not playing good on the other side of the ball, too.
Right on. Yeah. Shep, listening to Dan Campbell say would love to get back to 2022. He's definitely talking about hunger, and I love it. Yeah, I get the same thing. I think the emotional standpoint, like I saw a clip of Mike McCarthy. He's back in Pittsburgh, where he was born and raised, and he's the head coach there. And players are fired up because he's bringing a Pittsburgh attitude and a vibe that screams about Pittsburgh. That's great in training camp. It's great prior to a game. How much does that matter during a game? I don't know. He's going to coach. Dan Campbell's going to coach any differently? Probably not. They're going to go about their training camp differently. They don't have the dual practices with other teams. So that's a big factor. And I think that should help them a little bit. We all love it. Don't get me wrong, but I think it should help them a little bit. The Jahmyr Gibbs saga, we should be getting used to this now. You and I should be getting used to talking about it, hearing about it, hearing other players have to talk about it. Because we've heard it with Skubal, we've heard it with Larkin, we've heard it with Duren, and now we're hearing it with Jahmyr Gibbs. It wasn't long ago we were hearing it about Alex Anzalone. Would you extend him? That's the Mitch Lyons Wealth Poll question. Yes or no? Would you do that? If so, why? If not, why not? So Dan Campbell saying, we'll take it as it comes. Look, of course you're going to say that. I don't expect anything more from your head coach. The people out there who I want transparency, damn it. I want him to say how he feels. You can't.
Yeah,
you're going to alienate one or the other. You're going to alienate your bosses or you're going to alienate the player.
You got like two friends getting in an argument or something, and like you don't want to get in the middle of it. I mean, it's not the same thing, but I feel like Dan Campbell doesn't want to make himself the center of that whole thing. He probably is just like, yeah, it's gonna come to us. It's gonna come to us. That's the reason he's saying that, because it's not like it's his position to. He obviously has a say on if they should do it or not, but he's not going to say how he feels about it, because at the end of the day, it comes down to the general manager and the player. It feels like more.
Yeah, remember, Anzalone missed 5 days of training camp for holding in for a new deal, and they reworked his contract.
Yep.
And I think he had 1 year left on it. Gibbs is only 24. He's going to be a key part to the offense. Everybody knows that. He's going to be the quote-unquote bell cow. He wants, reportedly, somewhere in the neighborhood of what Saquon Barkley is making.
I don't think this is going to go on for that long either. I think the Lions are going to act on this.
What makes you say that?
Because I feel like the way that they've signed the other players that they've drafted that are good players, the way this organization has worked in the past, I feel like they're going to do the same thing with Jahmyr Gibbs.
I think you're right about that. How long before others on the team who are put in similar situations? Brian Branch can't do it because he's hurt.
Right.
Sam Laporta can't do it because he's coming off back surgery, right?
And those are two of the guys that you're talking about right now with those extensions. Yeah.
I am. But then there is another wave eventually of players at some point, I don't know when that is, who start to do the same thing. Like, it's always catch up in sports. Andy signs a big deal. He signs it at the right time. The guy who had just signed the big deal looks around and says, wait a minute, I've done more than Andy. No offense, Andy. I've done more than Andy. I deserve that money. What's to stop them from holding out?
Yeah, I can't hold out here at the station. I got to work to get, the money. Yeah. So that's how it works.
You and I both. At least we know our place. That's the whole key, right? The whole key is, are you able to take advantage of the timing of the situation? Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson, it's not just Jahmyr Gibbs, I might add, are trying to take advantage of their situation.
Oh, 100%.
I don't blame them. Running backs' lives are on average about 3 seasons. That's what it is. So I understand why they're doing that.
But when those two players are as dynamic and big to their team as they are, I completely understand why they want to get a paycheck. There's really no question about it.
So do I. But could you also understand why a team would be hesitant in doing so?
Yep. It's that's what makes it so tough, and why those people are paid a lot to make those decisions, because it's not an easy one to do, I feel like, right now for them.
Right. So when you look at back-to-back first-team All-Pro Todd Gurley at the age of 23 and age of 24. Maybe this is a very slighted and slanted example that I'm going to use. But Todd Gurley was everything the Rams would want. He was Offensive Player of the Year. He finished second in the MVP to Tom Brady in 2017. And like I said, he was first-team All-Pro in back-to-back years at the age of 23 and the age of 24. All right? Signed a big contract with the Rams. He spent 1 more year with the Rams. And then he was done in 2 years after that. He was done at the age of 26. People in those positions just don't last very long. And think about that. 26. What is Jahmyr Gibbs now? 24? You keep him on the deal that he has right now, and then the third year, in other words, an additional year at age 27, you franchise him? Wouldn't that be more in line with what you should do responsibly, anyway, from a financial standpoint? At least that's my take on it. Here on X's and Bros on a Tullymore Thursday. We're brought to you this hour by our friends at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on.
Put your faves on repeat with new Meijer Subscribe. It's easy to add subscriptions with your Meijer home delivery or pickup order. From fridge and pantry to pets and paper towels, big, small, or in between. Subscribe to Purina, Pampers, and all your favorite brands. We'll shop as often as you like when you like. Just press set up a subscription while shopping and choose a frequency. We'll take care of the rest. New Meijer Subscribe keeps you supplied with what you need when you need it. Download the Meijer app to start a subscription with your home delivery or pickup order today.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
If you've ever had a nervous system injury, just waiting for the nerve strength to come back, being told it might not come back, all those feelings of maybe not being able to play again, it sucks sitting on the couch. My wife got the short end of the stick with that every night. I'd be telling her, like, man, I really hope God allows me to get my nerve strength back and just play football again. She's like, you're fine. The doctor says you're going to be fine. The training staff says you're going to be great. You're going to come back and be great. So shout out to her. Shout out to Brett Fisher, the entire training staff. It's just amazing for us.
Sam Laporta on his return and excited to be back at camp and excited to put on the pads and play for the Lions, what we hope will be a full season. Welcome back, X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9, 18 after the hour. On this Tullymore Thursday, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Tony Anise, the outstanding football coach for Ferris State, joins us at the bottom of the hour. He's being inducted into the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame in December, and we wanted to bring him on to congratulate him and talk a little bit about it and what it might mean to him. He's in the Michigan High School Football Hall of Fame too, so there's quite a bit that he has to be proud of. Sam Laporta's got a lot to be proud of. If I said to you, you want Sam Laporta from 2 years ago, his rookie year, or 2 years ago. So his first year, he was second team All-Pro, third in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting. By the way, do you know who won that award? Who for Offensive Rookie of the Year? Who was number one?
It's hard to think back to now, even that soon ago.
C.J. Stroud.
Wow.
And then it was Puka Nacua.
How quickly things can change for somebody.
Yeah. And then it was Sam Laporta, and then it was Jahmyr Gibbs. That's how they went in that order for Offensive Rookie of the Year that season. Anyway, I look at last year, and I know he didn't have as many yards. 2 years ago, I'm sorry. 2 years ago, he didn't have as many yards. He didn't have as many targets. And he didn't have as many receptions. But he averaged more yards per reception. And he was the catching percentage for him 2 years ago was higher than it was his rookie year. I get the 10 touchdowns. He still had 7 2 years ago, which tells you something. But the success rate and the yards per target were higher in his second year than it was in his first. I don't care one way or the other, as long as you get back. I think that big fella's a hell of a weapon. I think he's unique. I'm trying to bring on Mitch Lyons from Mitch Lyons Wealth maybe tomorrow and ask him specifically about Sam Laporta and what he likes most, because Mitch played tight end at Michigan State and in the NFL with Pittsburgh and Atlanta. Never put up those types of numbers, but can appreciate what Sam Laporta brings. I think it's a really hard position to play. I think it's an underrated position in football. While so much love is given to quarterbacks and running backs and wide receivers and defensive ends, and I understand that. But as a tight end, you have to be a lineman, blocking, and you have to be a receiver, catching, obviously. And I think that can be, and you've got to be one of the smarter players on the team with all that involved. So I really respect tight ends. I've always liked tight ends. I got in a debate one time with somebody in the media about a luxury, that the tight end position is a luxury. And I was so vehemently against that label. Never think it was even close to that. I think it's a really important weapon. And if you've got a really good one, it gives you a sincere advantage over a defense creating mismatches. That's why teams like, in the past, Atlanta used Tony Gonzalez. Kansas City has used Travis Kelce. San Francisco has used George Kittle. Hell, even San Francisco back in the day had some really good players like Brett Jones. Bert Jones was a quarterback for the Colts. Brett Jones and others. Those positions are really important. And when you have two of them, Buffalo, for example, when you have two of them, you can really expose defenses. It causes serious problems. Sam Laporta's return will be really important to this team, especially with Ty Conklin right now being on the IL, if you will, okay? Unable to perform list right now. Giovanni Mano's on it. He's out 12 to 14 weeks, according to Dan Campbell. I don't know how long Ty Conklin's going to be out, but he started the training camp on the PUP list, right?
The PUP list, with Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, even though he bet against it.
Even though you bet against it?
No, Kirby Joseph bet against it himself.
Yeah, what was that whole? Did he say that?
Yeah, on social media. So he quoted a fan.
I thought he said was, "What do you want to bet that I'm not on it?"
Yeah, I mean that could be
him betting on it. Do you think? Or
I mean, yeah, that could be the exact word. No, I'm pretty sure he said. I'll look back for it right now just to be sure. But I'm pretty sure that he said bet that I won't be on the list. But that's why he had to backtrack and kind of got into the hole that he got into. I feel like with all the tweets that he sent.
Did he say how much do you want to bet I don't start on the list?
Yeah,
is that what he said?
I'm pretty sure. I'm getting there. But.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to be too take things completely at their words. I would like to sometimes we try to read into things. Maybe we shouldn't. I thought he was just saying in so many words, what are you betting on? That I'm going to be on it or I'm not going to be on it? I thought that was similar to what he was getting at. Maybe not. Either way, who knows what happens with that? The opinions on Kirby Joseph are incredibly wide and vary immensely about whether or not he's coming back or whether or not, if he does come back, how long he can stay back because of his injury.
His tweet was, how much y'all want to bet I'm not on there?
Okay. Yeah. That sure leads me to believe that he firmly believed he wasn't going to be on.
Yeah, he thought he wasn't going to be on the list. And then the next day it came out and he was. So, he kind of made like a joke of it. And that's what started to, get some fans fired up. And
a lot of fans fired up.
Yeah, exactly.
I never understood why he was so engaged with them. I tweet it out I do this every morning, kind of the things that we're going to talk about on the show. And when we talked about the Lions situation, somebody tweeted back, we traded Montgomery. He's one of the best running backs in football. That's a stupid question. That was regarding our poll question. Although fans may, although the Lions may blank it up still. Is David Montgomery, this is where we get way too hyperbolic, man. Is David Montgomery one of the best running backs in football, do you think?
No.
Okay. If he were one of the best running backs in football, he wouldn't be sharing time with Woody Marks. And that's exactly what's going to happen in Houston. So please, let's not get too crazy about our love affair with one player. You didn't want him to trade him, and you're saying he's one of the best running backs in football. That's absolutely asinine. He's not one of the best running backs in football. He's a complimentary back. You and I could reel off from James Cook to Derrick Henry to Jonathan Taylor to Bijan Robinson, Devon Achane, Kyron Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, all of them. I was going to say DeAndre Swift might be a little bit. All of them better than David Montgomery. Final results of the poll question, the Mitch Lions poll question from the other day. Here's what we asked you. What excites you most? Opening day, first day of training camp, golf's first major, or other?
Opening day was 68%, which doesn't surprise me that much people consider it to be like a Michigan holiday, I feel like, or want it to be. Right. So that's one. First day of training camp, 3%. Golf's first major was 15%. Other was 14%.
How did you do on the daily wager brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort?
Yeah. Derek let me
first week back, but not yesterday. Huh?
Derek let me down. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about yesterday's game. If you were watching it, I feel like he was giving up a lot of contact. There was a lot of fly ball outs yesterday, but he had 6 strikeouts.
He is a fly ball pitcher, though.
Yeah, for sure. Couldn't get to the 8 mark yesterday for the first end. That was kind of a bummer. So, but today I'm gonna go with golf for you guys. I'm actually gonna go with picking Xander Schauffele to finish in the top 10. I feel like for being a veteran that he is in that tournament, they're giving him plus 200 odds just to finish in the top 10. I think that's very doable for him. Yeah, but the Rocket Classic.
First time he's in the Rocket Classic. When we come back, Tony Anise, who will be inducted into the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame in December, joins us here on X's and Bros on a Tullymore Thursday.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community. Just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements, this center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Shop the Meijer 7 for 7 sale and make your next shopping trip a good deal better. Through August 4th, pay just $1 each when you mix or match any 7 or more items. Summer fresh favorites like 1-pound California strawberries, seedless mini cucumbers, and select varieties of Oikos Light and Fit or Chobani yogurt, Kraft mac and cheese, Powerade, or sparkling iced beverages. Getting more for your money with the Meijer 7 for 7 sale through August 4th. That's good life quality and real low prices. Only at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See the Meijer app for details.
We've said this a lot, and I think it's worth repeating, and we don't just say it because he's joining us. Tony Annese could coach at any level of college football. There's no doubt. What's amazing to me, and this is no knock on Ferris State, but look at what he's done for the Bulldogs. They have won back-to-back national championships. Not just that, though. They have won 4 of the last 5. And during that 4-year span, I know it's a 5-year span, but of the 4 years, he's lost 2 games, and that's it. That's it. He went 14-1 in 2022, and he had 1 hiccup in 2024. He is now going to be inducted into another Sports Hall of Fame, the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. He will do that December 17th with a lot of worthy people, including friends of mine like Paul Woods. Tony Annese, a friend of the program, joins us here on X's and Bros. Coach, congratulations. How are you today?
I am doing great, Shep. Thanks for having me. And, I appreciate the congratulations. Very humbling and very honored to be able to be in this Hall of Fame with some of these names. It's just a wow to me.
What's it mean to you? I mean, you've accomplished so much in your career, not just as a coach, but also as a grandfather and a father, and you're living a wonderful life right now. And Ferris State and their fan base is taking advantage of it for sure, bringing all kinds of smiles. But what does something like this mean to you?
Well, it just you go back to all the people that are involved in helping this happen. The great coaches that I've had, and sitting in a classroom for 25 years teaching young people as a high school teacher. I mean, that extraordinary experience, and so former students obviously, and the impact they may have had on me, and then obviously great players, just great players. And ironically, which this is incredible, but I just spent the last 3 days in Montrose, Michigan, where my first head football job started in 1987, and I still do a camp there that I've done since 1991. And there are coaches that brought their teams to this camp, for 30 years, and so it's just incredible to have those kind of friends, and so the coaching profession is so incredible, and it just empowers you every day to get up and get to work, because there's so many great people out there. And I still view myself as a high school coach, so I have more affinity with that mindset than I do college coaching. But it's just incredired to know that you've been in a profession that is so uplifting, and ultimately, as I shared with the team, the teams that were there yesterday, I had 1,000 kids there. And I shared with them that really ultimately it's, as a coach, just to give love and feel love is like the most empowering thing on earth.
That's phenomenal. And I mean, just so people are aware, because Coach Annese won't say this, he won't brag about himself, but that first year at Montrose, he was 4-5. He went 4-3 in the Genesee 8 Athletic Conference. After that year, he never lost a conference game. For all the time he was at Montrose, he did not lose a conference game, taking his team, the Rams, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I thought they were the Rams.
Yep, no, that's correct.
Yep, to 4 playoffs. And he eventually would coach at Pioneer and coach at Jenison and coach at Muskegon. And where at Muskegon, he won 3 state championships. And then in the junior college realm, he won a national championship there before moving on and getting more rings than his hands can hold at Ferris State. He's joining us here on X's and Bros. You're obviously in the Michigan High School Coaches Hall of Fame. It's not fair to ask which one means more, but each one has significance. What does each of these Halls of Fame honors stand for and mean to you as a person and a coach overall?
Well, the Michigan High School Football Coaches Hall of Fame. I had good fortune of probably being the only person in the state to accept that award twice, because my dad was in the Hall of Fame but had passed away before he's inducted. So I received it on his behalf, and then some 30 years later, I received it. So, just going back to the family, how I grew up and honoring my dad, I mean, that's just an incredible honor. But this one, as I look at the nominees and people who are inducted, I look at I look at high school names more than college names, because again, I feel more like a high school coach. So then I look at, I'll just name three of them: Al Fracassa, John Harrington, and Tom Mack. And I look at those three names, I'm like, I mean, how do I belong, in this thing, And then obviously looking at the college names of Bo Schembechler and Muddy Waters and George Perlis and Mark D'Antonio just got inducted last year, and those are just football guys. So just pretty incredible. At no way do I measure up to those names, but every day you just try to do your best and help people the way you can help people. And ultimately you just keep on dragging along on a career and get older and older, and then people start admiring you more and more, because as you get older, you become a nicer guy, I guess.
You've always been a nice guy. Just because you're a nice guy doesn't mean that you can't be a tough football coach. My football coach, who's also with you in the Michigan Sports High School Hall of Fame, High School Football Hall of Fame, Ron Holland, 165 and 54 all time, state champion, North Farmington, 1970, was that type of person too. As good a person as you'll ever meet. He's probably the second most influential man in my life, behind my father, but as tough a football coach as there has ever been. And you had to do things right. You as a football coach, how is Tony Annese different as a football coach compared to Tony Annese as a father and Tony Annese as a grandfather? I would guess as a grandfather, you're a pushover, but how are you different?
Yeah. As a grandfather, I'm definitely trying to do everything I can just to have fun with those grandkids and get yelled at by my own kids that they're now all of a sudden understanding. They're understanding the things that I taught them. And like, I'll give you the perfect example, because I'll just talk about my daughter, who is a little football nut, and she's a mini me in a lot of regards. And so, she'll yell at me and say, you can't do that. And I'm like, well, yes, I can. I mean, I raised you, and you're pretty good, aren't you, right now? And so she's constantly lecturing me. She's a psychologist, so she knows how to tell me everything I'm doing wrong with my grandchildren. But it's it's just the family, becomes a part of what you value and what you do. And so, I got two kids that coach for me now. I got a nephew that coaches for me. So family became just a big part of, the way we did business. And it's just, it's a big part of, doing things the right way. I learned that from my dad, my mom, and my sister and three brothers. I mean, it was just the way we did things. And, sports was a huge part of what we were. And then also what you learn as a byproduct of playing sports is just incredible. I always just say playing sports should be mandatory for young people, so that they learn the lessons that come with playing the games that they play.
100%. You're not too far removed from doubling up Harding to win another national championship. 42-21, I believe, was the final score. When you look back at that, coaches always remember the losses more than they remember the wins. At what point did you truly enjoy it and soak it all in?
It's just such a great question. So a few months ago, I was sitting here at the house, and my son's girlfriend said, "Do you remember all your games?" Because there are 444 games I've coached as a head coach. That's an easy number to remember, 444. So Normally I don't have that number in my head, but because it's so easy, I got that in my head. But she says, do you remember all the games? And I'm like, no, but I remember all the losses. And she said, really? And I said, yeah. I said, I can name them right now. And I rattled off all of them but one. I missed the Country Day loss that I had at Ann Arbor Pioneer. So I named all the losses minus one in probably a 4-minute period. So, yeah, the losses linger. As far as the Harding game and winning any national championship, it's way in the past. Our guys do a really super job at, putting the past the past. So we had GLIAC Media Day the other day, and Tariq Brett was with me. He's got 4 rings. He's going for 5, which is crazy, right?
That is nuts.
Yeah. So he's got 4 national championship rings, and he's there on the podium with 0 rings on his finger. Tim Allen has 3. He had 0 on his finger, and I don't wear rings at all. So, I refuse to wear anything that says national championship on it right now from this point on, because it's all about moving forward. And I think the process of having that mindset, never feeling like you've accomplished anything, is something that you have to have in order to achieve anything significant in the future.
Well, the reason you remember the losses is because there are fewer to remember. When you're 195-41 in high school, 30-4 in junior college, and 153-21 at the collegiate level, it's easier to remember the fewer numbers. That's why Tony Annese remembers the losses maybe more so than the wins, although we hope he does digest those wins because there's been so many of them. He joins us here on X's and BrO's. He's going to be part of the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame class December 17th on a Thursday in Detroit. He will be there. I will be there too because I want to be there. And there's a lot of good friends of mine who I've covered over the past who are getting acknowledged and rightfully so. You are the preseason favorite in Division II again. You're used to this. Can you describe the difference between the hunted and the hunter for people who don't necessarily know it, and how you handle it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I don't know how many times in our career here that we've been preseason number 1. We were in Muskegon a lot. Obviously GRCC, we were a team to beat all the time, and then here at Ferris now we're the team to beat. So, the biggest thing is just putting in perspective, right? I always say, the only team that can beat Ferris State is Ferris State. And truthfully, as I sit back, I think the last time I felt like a team was better than us, and we lost to them, was 2016. I mean, that's just our mindset, right? Wow. 2016, we played in the semifinal versus Northwest Missouri State, and I thought, boy, that was one of the best teams I'd ever seen. And it was still a close game, but so that's our mindset. So with that being said, then it's just truly a disappointment, and it's truly bad coaching and bad preparation by our players if we're not of the right mindset that, we got to be at our level best. We got to perform and grow our players so that they understand that, it's a failure in life if you're not at your best. I mean, that's just factual. I mean, if you're not at your best in any endeavor, then that's failure in life. And so we don't want to fail. We want to be at our best, and that's our mindset. And truthfully, Shep, I'm just going to tell you something that's horrible to say, but I'm so hoping that I will not be at that ceremony in Detroit, because that's national championship week, and I want to be in McKinney, Texas.
I don't blame you, but you'll at least be there via video, and you can say thank you for everything.
I hope to be there via video,
Yeah, that would be the best way to put it. Hey, a final thought from you. Every coaching staff has to do things differently in the offseason, even though you've had incredible success. It can't be a mindset of, well, this is the way we've always done it, so we're going to continue to do it this way, because everybody has to adjust. You ask your players to adjust, so I would guess coaches adjust. What are some of those adjustments that you and your staff have made to prepare for a new campaign when everybody's got film on what makes Ferris State so dominant?
Yeah, well, we play 100% to the skill set of our players. So, I've just been watching all of our games from last year, just, in preparation mentally. But as I watch, I had Trinidad playing for me in 2024. And so I had to utilize his skill set at a level that is a little bit different than probably the way we had to this past year. I started Wyatt Bauer this past year in 2025, and he was a redshirt freshman, right? So then I got to protect him. I got to make sure that I bring him along slowly, that I don't call plays that are so challenging for him to execute. I got to be simplistic, but yet, very challenging to defend. I mean, we led the nation in total offense. We actually broke the all-time scoring record in the history of college football with a redshirt freshman, a redshirt sophomore quarterback. And so this year, playing to their strengths now, because both of them, Wyatt Bauer and Chase Carter, combined, they rushed for 2,000 yards as a quarterback. So I got to utilize their skill set. People say all the time, we use players a crazy way. I lost Carson Gallker to Michigan State. I used him as a running back, a quarterback, a tight end, a H-back, a fullback. So a million different ways that we utilized them. My son's the offense coordinator and very creative. And so you got to play to the strengths of your team. Philosophically speaking, there's just some real simple things that actually I got a staff meeting here at 1 that we're going to talk about in regards to who we want to be. And I want to remain the same. You got to run the ball to be successful. You got to defend the run to be successful. You got to be an efficient pass team. I mean, it goes on and on. You got to be a good design quarterback run team. And then we got 10 principles, offensive 10 commandments, and 10 principles, defensive 10 commandments that are necessary for us to be successful. And so, and that never changes. We keep on, focusing on that, but you got to do it different ways.
Sure. I love that. And you're right. I mean, Steve Anish, your offensive coordinator, so he's the genuine ability to bring out the best in players. I remember in 2021 when you had Jared Bernhardt, who was a lacrosse player at Maryland and won the Heisman Trophy equivalent, and then became the GLIAC Player of the Year. He doesn't do that without the ingenuity of a guy like Stephen East, the offensive coordinator at Ferris State, who continues to work with his father and will continue to have success there in Big Rapids. Coach, congratulations again. Thanks for the time. We always enjoy the visit. You're fun, but you're excellent at what you do, and you deserve the honor. Have a great season. We'll talk soon, I hope.
Yeah, Shep. I appreciate you having me on.
You bet. That's Tony Anise, the outstanding head coach at Ferris State University. I want to thank him for joining us. Thank you for being part of our program on this Tullymore Thursday. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock. Don't forget the huge show later on today. Billy will be all some kind of fired up, passionate about the Tarek Skubal situation. If he's got that passion on Twitter, imagine when he opens the microphone. Listen to him, 3 o'clock later today here on the Michigan Sports Network.
In the den.
It's a new day to celebrate and be free. It's a new day full of action and excitement because it's a new day for winning. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, your getaway reimagined. This is Matt Shepard. Wednesday's series wrap up with Baltimore, the games that stick with you for anyone who's emotionally attached to the Tigers. They blew a game in which their best pitcher started and was good enough to win. Tarek Skubal, during the start, recorded his 1,000th career strikeout in his 153rd career game. Only Randy Johnson reached the milestone faster in MLB history for a southpaw, but it may have been Skubal's last as a Tiger. He thinks they're good enough to get to the World Series, but they're not. They've lost a major league high 18 games while leading after 7 innings. They made a costly error and struck out 9 times and ranked 5th most in the league in both those categories. Good teams don't do that, or they're deep enough and or good enough to overcome it. This Tigers team isn't, and the front office must recognize it and react accordingly.
Huge cheer for my good friend Josh Garvey and the team at Dorn, Mayhew, West Michigan, one of the world's top